Hey everyone, Justin here, Kickstarter guy, and today we're going to be talking about the three core components of a kick-ass campaign. Now, in the past, this was sort of the main thing that I went over with people when I did free consultations. So at the time of this recording, that's starting to sort of phase out a little bit. But there was a time where that was the main way that I introduced this information to people, was providing free consultation, no sales call at the end, that talked about these three core components. Now, I really believe that if you check these three boxes, you will have a much higher chance of success. If you ignore any of these three things, you're really creating a pretty challenging situation for yourself. So, before we get into all those three things, I figured that for some of you, this might be your first introduction to me. And so I thought I'd quickly go over, my story a little bit. So, who is this guy? uh, so I found this picture of myself. I was doing a headshot session. That's right, I was doing a headshot session, and he messed with the lighting, and he was like, "This looks kind of GQ," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty cool." And then I looked at this later, and I was like, "What was I thinking?" But why does this guy think he's so cool? So look, I have been in this industry for a while. I've been out in Los Angeles for about 10 years at the time of this recording, and I went to school for acting, conservatory trained, theater, artisty dude. Came out here, and I've had a lot of success. You guys can kind of see, I've done guest stars on things like Shameless. I've had several national commercials. I've been in award-winning feature films. There's me right there. This was a series regular gig that went from a YouTube series with 70 million views to a cable show, right? And here's the problem, though. Being an actor in Los Angeles, frankly, is a very unempowering job. You're kind of waiting for a lot of people to give you permission, and I am not somebody who's really wired to do that. And so when Bite Me, this little series here, like I said, went to cable. When it got canceled, I found myself again waiting for people to give me permission to do my art. And I couldn't do it. So I turned to my co-star from this show. His name is Ryan Welsh. I was like, dude, let's write some projects. So then we wrote these two projects. This was our first short film. This was our second. And we crowdfunded for these two films. We raised about $100,000 total. This first one, This Is Normal, went on to do really well. Won a bunch of awards. It's a Vimeo staff pick, that kind of stuff. Outpost, we just released, I'm sorry, not released, sent off to South by Southwest yesterday. Today's or I guess a couple days ago. Today's a Monday, and we sent it last Friday, at least when I'm recording this. But now I have a lot of work as a filmmaker, paid writing gigs. Here's a feature I'm attached to direct. Here's another feature I'm attached to direct. We've really kind of, the career has sort of taken off. And here's the thing, the industry, this is how many, that word, this word that they give, doesn't matter. No matter how, sort of successful the work has been, the industry doesn't really care. It really wasn't until we sort of understood how this kind of process works that it really started mattering. So I just want to say that I've been there. I've been where you're at right now, which is, I've got a lot of ideas, right? You've got a lot of ideas, you've got a lot of potential, and something's not working. And you've turned to crowdfunding as the way to sort of to kickstart, right? Kickstart your career, or the next evolution and step in your career. So this is me and my partner at the Streamy Awards. When we crowdfunded for these two projects, this little workflow here, that's what actually started getting us on the map. That's what actually got people sort of paying attention. We went from basically broke, out of work actors to somebody with award-winning projects under our belt. We have paid writing gigs and directing gigs scheduled through the end of 2018. This is the end of 2017 right now, or I guess sort of fall of 2017. So the next 16, 18 months is paid writing and directing gigs. We really got to skip the line as filmmakers. I mean, we have a lot of talented friends in our life who have been struggling. And I think one reason why is they've really never looked at what crowdfunding can be for them. It's more than just having the money. It's learning these skills that we're about to go through in this course. Yeah, so now, my partner and I were just skiing, down piles of money. No, I saw this image and I thought it was funny. This is our future, I guess. But we did all this without going to prestigious film school, without having industry connections, without having rich uncles. We've had very little help, frankly. But again, learning how to crowdfund, learning how to put that flag in the ground, articulate our vision, and articulate it in such a way that people got excited by it and got attracted to it, that's what has kind of put us on the map. So I want you to really just stop for a second and think about this following statement. The ability to greenlight yourself can change your career and your life forever. Period. The ability to greenlight yourself can change your career and your life forever. Everybody is banging on the front door of Hollywood, and they don't realize that crowdfunding is a way to separate yourself from the pack. That by funding yourself, you become somebody who is very powerful in Hollywood, which is somebody who can greenlight projects. So now you're greenlighting yourself. And not only does that change your career, of course, and create a lot of sort of, awareness about you and stuff, but it really can change your life as well. Learning these skills, learning how to do this, changes you as an artist, enriches your artistry. I really truly believe that the bottom line is that you cannot be a professional in today's artistic landscape if you don't have concepts, some basic concepts really, of marketing and promotion. No one is going to ever see your avant-garde, beautiful, incredible piece unless you figure out how to get it in front of them. And that's what a lot of this course is about, and really crowdfunding in general. So let's dive into what goes into a successful crowdfunding campaign, the 3 core components of a kick-ass campaign. So core component number 1, having a plan. Now, that probably seems like a duh, but I should make it really clear. Your project is not your plan. So having a really cool celebrity or having a huge following, having a really incredibly amazing documentary that's really important, all that kind of stuff, that is not your plan. You actually have to have a marketing plan, all right? Your video doesn't matter. Your project page doesn't matter. Your rewards and your perks don't matter. Well, let me say this. They matter, but they only matter once people are actually seeing them. So you need a marketing plan to get people to your video, to your page, and to your rewards. And quite frankly, guys, you could probably get on YouTube and after a couple of hours of research on YouTube and the internet, come up with a good structure for a good Kickstarter video, a good Kickstarter page, good Kickstarter perks. Like, that's not the hard stuff. That's what everybody focuses on. But the truth is that's the ticket to entry. You better have an amazing video, an amazing page, and amazing rewards. And it's not really hard to come up with that if you just put in a little bit of effort. But you've got to get people to see it, right? So this number is really the important number that you need to walk away with. And that is that you can expect about a 5% conversion rate on your Kickstarter, Indiegogo, seed&spark, whatever page. In other words, 100 people come to your page. Only 5 of them are going to give you money. The other 95 are going to leave. It's not personal. My best friend of 23 years, the godfather, literally godfather to my children, best man at my wedding, has never donated to any of my currently like 80, 85 campaigns that I've coached. Not a single one. It's not personal. It's just not on his brain. It's got terrible ADD. I think he just forgets. But that doesn't mean he doesn't like me. What it means is that only 5% of the people I'm going to be reaching out to not only are going to like the project, but are also going to like it enough, frankly, to pull out their wallet. So let's just take an example. At the lowest end, let me give you an example of the scope of what this is going to look like. So let's say you want to raise $20,000. And let's say that the average backer amount is about $50. My campaigns, which you are now going to be included as one of those, tend to be a lot higher when they followed all the training and whatnot. But just, easy math, let's say $50 per person. So that means you need 400 backers at $50 to get to $20,000 totally raised, right? As your total raise. 400 is 5% of 8,000. So you need 8,000 people to come to your Kickstarter or Indiegogo page in a 30-day time period in order to hit this amount, all right? So think about it this way. At 400, we're already way outside of friends and family. Now, I don't want to mislead you. Friends and family are important. They are, I call them the social echo chamber. They're sort of the initial fan base that you have. They care about you. They care about your success and all that kind of stuff. But you just literally don't have the numbers. I mean, even just straight up backers, you don't have the numbers, let alone 8,000 people, right? At a 20,000 raise. Okay. So you don't have 8,000 friends and family members. Plus that 8,000, that's the number of people who clicked on the link. There's a whole other group of people who saw the link scrolling through Kickstarter and never even clicked on it, right? So if we do some just really basic math, whatever this number is, this 20,000, for example, just multiply that by 10, and that's how much reach you have to have total across all platforms in a 30-day time period. So 200,000 people, you don't have enough friends and family. And you're going to need a marketing plan in order to reach 20,000 people in a 30-day time period. That's what this course is all about. So let's talk about the second core component, a multiplier. Now, if you were a product, and some of you may be products, it would be paid advertising. I know I put not recommended here, but at least for now, this course is mainly geared towards creatives who, quite frankly, often don't have any sort of even concept of a marketing budget, let alone an actual marketing budget. So I'm not going to get into paid advertising, at least now, October or almost November 2017. There may be future models. And even if you are a product and you have paid advertising, you still need this second type, which is having a team. Having a team in place who can actually help you execute the job from core component number 1, the marketing plan. So here is the power of the team, okay? You ever sign in and notice, usually at the top of your timeline, for example, this was the second post, where it'll say a couple of your friends and a bunch of other people have shared or liked a certain thing, okay? And look, it's got all this sort of engagement. That is an example of the team kind of working in place, okay? Let me quickly, yeah. That's an example of the team working in place. This thing over here is Facebook's algorithm. Okay, this is how Facebook's algorithm determines what content you see. And it's really easy to, I shouldn't say it's easy. It's pretty simple to be able to manipulate this algorithm. But the team is so incredibly important because what Facebook is primarily looking for is engagement. They want to deliver content to you that is already popular. Why? Because Facebook has one purpose. Their algorithm has one purpose: to show you content it thinks you're going to like so that you stay on Facebook. Frankly, so that it can sell your demographic information to advertisers. Facebook is a advertising platform that uses social media to collect your information, your habits. I mean, think about it. When you create a profile, you literally tell them, this is my birthday, this is where I'm born, this is where I live, this is my job, this is how much money I make, this is my email, this is my, they know everything about you, and they use that for advertising. So Facebook wants to deliver this content to you. It wants you to stay on Facebook, so it's going to make sure that it's only showing you content that it thinks you're going to like. And it uses engagement to do that. So here is kind of an example. Early training, we'll get into this later, but here's the power of the team. So you take your pitch video, okay, so this is your pitch video. You directly upload it to your page. So in this case, we're talking about Harvest Moon. So Harvest Moon, Meredith and Chris Majors, they took their video, they directly uploaded it to their Kickstarter page. They pinned it That's what this little symbol means, which means it stays at the top of their Facebook page. They have all this copy, all this kind of stuff you'll see down the road, so don't worry about that kind of stuff. And every day they had their team of about 6 or 7 people share it. I don't know what this is. I think you can, if I see, let's make this little thing go away. So see down here, it says 334 shares, right? 334 shares underneath this little thing that keeps popping up. So every day their team shared it, and they also boosted it for a few bucks a day. And look at this. Look, here's the shares, right? 38,000 people saw this, and this was about halfway through their campaign. This ended up being almost 70,000 people. Look how much engagement it's got. Look how many views on the video, okay? Comments, all this kind of stuff. This is an incredible way for you to get that. I mean, look, we're talking 200, 300,000 people you need to reach. Just like 10%, right? From one single post. Here's another example. L.A. Macabre. This was Dan Asked. Maybe you go by Daniel. Daniel Asked campaign. This was the old format of Facebook page, and it would tell you just straight up here, like how much post reach you got in a week. Look at this. 1 week. It got 212,000 post reach in one single week. You can't pay for that. That is a team-based approach. You have to have a team of people helping you on your campaign to get that kind of reach. In a later training, I'm going to go over like who makes good team members. But for now, as sort of a preamble to this course, let's talk about how many team members do you actually need. So each core team member, that's somebody who is doing the job of marketing this campaign, is generally worth about $5,000 in backing to the campaign. To be clear, that's kind of what their network is bringing to the table. They're not going to obviously actually pay $5,000. I once had somebody ask me that. But no, they're generally worth, like the network and the work that they're bringing to the table, it's worth about $5,000 of what's going to come to the campaign. Now, I've had some individuals make $35,000 with one person. I've had large teams struggle. This number is a very broad statistic that you can sort of plan on, and it sort of brings into the, it kind of takes into account things like people flaking out and that kind of stuff. But like if you wanted to raise $20,000, you would want 4 core team members. There we go, right? So 20,000, basically you take your big number, you divide by 5,000, that's your 4 core team members, right? So 50,000, you need 10 core team members. 100,000 means you need 20 core team members. This is one of those reasons why this is a harder amount to raise, and we'll get into amounts later. But if you really think about it, with finding a team of people to help you is not going to be terribly difficult. I'm going to train you how to do that, so don't worry about it. But it becomes kind of a certain point where it just takes so much time and so much effort. Finding and training 20 core team members, that's going to take you 6 months. This is how I've always determined the difficulty of a campaign, is by breaking this down and going, okay, well, if you've got to get 20 core team members, that is a job that you can't pull together in a week. Whereas at 20K, you probably already have 2 or 3 other core team members ready to go in your producer and your writer and your director, say, right? Something like that. Also, you get to count yourself as a core team member. So you count as 5,000 of this. All right, so let's get into the final core component. Prep time. This should make total sense to any filmmaker, because just like film, you must have a pre-production period. This is essential. I don't even really, honestly, I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on this, because if you're a filmmaker or really sort of any creative, oftentimes the execution of that job takes far less time than the preparation for that job. And the same is absolutely true for your campaign. You're only going to, have maybe 30, 40 day-ish campaign, somewhere in that range, but you're going to spend at least 90 days in prep. And by the way, that is the official recommendation. When I do private coaching, which again is also kind of scaling back, I put in my deal memo, you must have a minimum of 90 days. You can do this job in like 60 to 90 days, but let's talk about kind of the time, how much prep time do you need. The recommendation is always going to be more is better. Like 90 days is better. If you're under 20,000, you can maybe get away with a 30-day prep. 20 to 40K is 60 days. 40 to 60K is absolutely 90 days. Anything over that, I would just add 30 days for every 10 to 20,000. Be conservative about this. I know from probably doing, frankly, 400 to 500 consultations now at this point, I know that many of you are chomping at the bit to get this launched. And frankly, you probably think that you're different than everybody else or that you've done a lot of prep. But just hear me and trust me when I say you really should have this amount of prep time. I was talking to a guy who launched about a week ago today. I won't say his name, but I really was like, dude, I don't think you're ready. I think you need more time. It's only been 30 days of prep. Yes, you have a large following, and he does several 100,000 followers, by the way, guys. So this is somebody who already has an audience and a fan base. And he was adamant about launching. And today we had a phone call, and he was like, dude, you were so right. You were absolutely right. I don't want to give his name away, but like, trust me, I have that conversation so often, which is, oops, I really should have had more time. I've never once in 4 years of doing this heard anybody say, yeah, we probably could have done that in like a month or 2 months. So just adjust accordingly. If you are watching this and it's the end, I'll get into like good time frames in a later session, but you know, always give yourself more time, not less time. So let's wrap this all up. Kickstarter publishes their success rates, and their highest success rate for film is 24%. And this is actually something I could show you guys. Kickstarter statistics. They publish their film Kickstarter stats. So you can go through here and actually check this stuff. Okay, you can see all the different categories and see how much they've raised. So the number I'm using right now is from 2015. It looks like this is from maybe later, 2016, because some of these stats look different. But their highest success rate for category for film and video, you can actually go through here and see how many they've done versus how many launched versus how many were unfunded, all that kind of stuff, right? 2015 stats were that the highest success rate for film was 24%. And that was only for projects $10,000 or less. $10,000 or less. At $100,000, it was a 0.2% success rate. Now, granted, my success rate is 97% across the board. And the difference is that I know about these three core components. This is why my clients have been so incredibly successful. I'm very conservative in my approach. I want to make sure that you give yourself at least 90 days that you, for core, that you have the team in place. Well, let's see, 5,000 per person. That you've done this math here, okay? That you've got a marketing plan in place, which you do now because that's what this course is. Because if you neglect that, you will fail. If you follow that, you have a 97% chance of success, in the rest of this training. You follow that stuff, you are going to beat Kickstarter statistics, which I think right here at the front, where did I just see that? Success rate in general, it's under 40%, just as a very generalization across all things. Let me see, maybe film, 37%, okay? So like, apparently got better. Fabulous. Still, that should not be a comforting number, okay? You are more likely to fail than not fail unless you take care of these three core components. All right, so peace, guys. Hope you are well and that you are excited about this journey that you're about to take. All right, peace.